To that team.
Postseason Live, presented by Blue Cross Blue Shield of Illinois.
The Indians have done it before. Here's the 0-1. This is going to be a tough play. Bryant, the Cubs win the World Series. Bryant makes the play. It's over. And the Cubs have finally won it all. 8-7-10.
The Chicago Cubs have accomplished the unthinkable. They have won the 2016 World Series. The long drought is over. 108 years, goats and everything else, forget about it, Chicago. You have a World Series champion. Holly, holy smokes, man. That was the most gut-wrenching baseball game I have ever watched. I didn't enjoy it until the last out. I'm sick to my stomach. It's the greatest thing I've ever watched.
Had it all the way.
All the nonsense.
Had it all the way, didn't we?
Holy smokes.
Listen, the one thing we said about this team all season long, one of the most resilient teams I have ever witnessed in my life. And if tonight doesn't prove it, nothing will. How resilient this group was tonight. Absolutely incredible. I've got chills running up and down the spine right now. Incredible, incredible performance from the entire group. Listen, it wasn't perfect. It wasn't easy. It wasn't scripted. But in the end, they found a way.
They found a way, and it was torture, man. It was absolute torture. And when it was 6-3, and then it's 6-4, and we're standing here, and people are going, oh, it's over. You guys got it. And I went, stop. More than any other team in professional sports, there are no done deals with the Chicago Cubs. But you're right, this is as resilient a group as we've ever seen, and they find a way, dear God, thank you.
To get it done, to absolutely get it done.
I don't know what to say. I mean, I just want to look up and tell my dad, Dad, we won it.
My boys at home shed tears tonight. They thought everything had gone completely despair. The euphoria at home. I know in Chicago things are incredible right now. Chaotic, well-deserved. Again, not beautiful, but a win, and that's all that matters. And isn't it the way it should be? 108 years of this journey ends this way tonight. I mean, think about it. It wasn't a perfect 8-0 win, was it? Did you think it was going to go that way? I mean, let's be honest with ourselves. You and I sat up here when this team was down 3-1, and here we are celebrating a World Series championship.
Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Chris Bryant makes the play to end the ball game, and holy smokes. I mean,
amazing. Absolutely amazing.
I do this for a living. I'm supposed to know what to say. I really don't know what to say. I'm overcome. I really am. As a fan, I'm speaking to you as a fan. I dreamed of this since I was a little kid. When I was bitten by this disease, Cubdom, and there's no cure for it. And holy smokes, they won the World Series.
Well,
it's unbelievable.
I knew this as a player when I came over to the Chicago Cubs in 2004 and 2005, and what I learned then, that this was not an easy journey. Not for the fan base, not for the players, that no matter what ends up happening, no matter how good your team may be, no matter how many wins they win during the regular season, that this postseason was going to probably be a little complicated getting over the hump. They did it tonight. This group, man, I have never seen. I never had the privilege of playing a team. And listen, I played on a championship team. But this group, man, they have each other's back in a way that I don't even really know how to describe. I told you, as long as they they didn't give back that lead, they were going to find a way to win this ball game. Ben Zobrist, huge at bat. I mean, holy cow. When they get rolling, they get rolling. They've done this to bullpens time and time again. Absolutely amazing.
Absolutely speechless. It's, we have a monitor here that we can see what's going on, and to see this group of kids that played like veterans and this group of veterans that played like kids, and they all come together, and it's over. 108 years. and they've won the World Series.
And I think, you know, tonight's ball game, there was a lot of love and hate that was going out there for Joe Maddon. You know, you think back to, you know, some of the moves that were made in this game, Aroldis Chapman. But I got to be honest with you, you think back to the first message he delivered to this group 2 years ago. What was it? Respect 90. What did this group do tonight? They never quit. They played every out all the way to the very end and found themselves champions.
This is the reaction at Harry Carey's, where it was jammed. People are just beside themselves with joy that finally, this long nightmare of 108 years is over, and the Chicago Cubs have done it. They have won the 2016 World Series. It's amazing, man.
It absolutely is. And again, I think all of us on the outside of the bubble, outside of the player bubble right now, lived this anxiety, lived this nervousness, lived every pitch. But they absolutely believe they had it the whole time. Things don't go perfect in the game of baseball, and clearly we witnessed that tonight. But, I mean, think about it. You know, Javi Baez has got a couple errors in the game, ends up hitting a huge home run. Ben Zobrist 0 for 4 in the game, biggest hit of the ball game. You know, from Bryant to Rizzo to the game.
Montero.
Dexter Fowler wasn't even supposed to be on this team this year, for crying out loud. Who showed up tonight? Dexter Fowler. Thank you very much. Holy cow, are you kidding me? I mean, listen, it felt like a team of destiny from the beginning of spring training to where you and I are sitting right here today, November 2nd. It got dicey, it got uncomfortable. You and I were yelling at each other in the 8th inning tonight, but you know what? When it's all said and done, this team is as resilient a team, and I know I've said that, I'm going to say it again, as anything I've ever seen. They gave it back. It got a little dicey there. It didn't work out with Chapman. Whatever, they found a way to win.
They found a way to win a baseball game.
Yeah.
And when Chapman gave up the home run to Rajay Davis, we looked at each other and went,
there's no way this is happening.
yeah, it cannot be happening. And, you know, there'll be people who say, well, he shouldn't have pitched yesterday. Who knows if he'd have not pitched yesterday, he might still have given up a home run. We'll never know. The bottom line is,
box scores.
Take the box scores, throw them in
out.
the trash,
It doesn't even matter
and
anymore.
Just know this.
Whatever.
The Chicago Cubs are the 2016 World Series champions.
That's all that matters, man. That's all you care about. You found a way to win a baseball game. We talked about Game 7 being like this. Finding a way to win. Never perfect. It's never scripted. Find a way to win a game, and they found a way.
Here we go. Here's our fan poll question. Go to csnchicago.com/vote. We need your input on this. And let's see if we can break a record for most number of votes. I think the record's 270,000, so let's see if we can break it. Did you ever think you would see the Chicago Cubs win a World Series in your lifetime? I always believed it. When he hit that home run, I was going, okay, I don't believe in any of the nonsense, but you've got to be kidding me. You've got to be flipping kidding me.
Oh, I believed it.
Chicago.com/vote.
I believed it because I came here with that in my back pocket. That's exactly why I moved to Chicago. It's why I became a Cub. It's why Jim Hendry and I worked it out back in 2004 to sign a contract to be here. It's why I stayed here. I'm glad to be here with you tonight, celebrating this with these guys in our small little way. You know what? We have our little part of this, but these kids, these guys out there tonight, boy, from John Lester on down, what a gutsy performance. I'm not surprised, Cap. You want to know why? Because that's the definition of a baseball team right there. And as I said all along, and you're going to talk about it tomorrow, and I'm going to talk about it, it's never perfect. It's never that perfect script, but you find a way to win.
All right, let's go to Harry Carey's. That's where our Chuck Garfien is with a bunch of fans.
Hey guys, this is what 108 years without winning a World Series looks like and sounds like after the Cubs finally won the World Series. Absolute bedlam here at Harry Carey's. Once upon a time, Harry Carey said it himself, he dreamed of the day when the Cubs would finally win a World Series, and millions of Cubs fans have dreamed that same dream. It became a reality here tonight. Absolute bedlam, a tidal wave of emotion. Cubs fans felt it all here tonight. What a topsy-turvy, downhill, uphill game that it was. I talked to one Cubs fan who said that he aged about 10 years in the last 3 weeks. Last time I saw him, he was crying. Lots of tears being shed here. Dutchie Carey is here, the widow of Harry Carey. We're going to speak with her and a whole bunch of Cubs fans who have all sorts of stories, personal stories about what it's been like to be a Cubs fan without winning after all those years. And finally, being World Series champs. That'll do it from here. Much more ahead here from Harry Carey's. Guys, back to you.
All right, thank you, Chuck. Again, I mean, that scene is being replayed all around Chicago. It really is. Bars, homes, apartments, everywhere. People are just, I mean, I still don't know what really to say, because I've never hidden the fact that I do this for a living, but that's my team.
Right.
And I'm speechless. It's absolutely better than I thought it would feel, but I'm still stunned that the way it went down, it happened.
Well, you know, Cappy, you look at this and you look at the history and the you know, growing up being a Cubs fan, you know that winning a World Series is not an easy thing to do. I've told that to you. You know, you go through the ups and downs of the season, you realize that you say some of these guys who have won multiple World Series, right? You know, the Yankees. I came up with Derek Jeter. He goes on and wins a handful of rings. Seems like it was pretty easy to win a World Series, right? But it's not. I'm telling you, it's as complicated as everything you just watched, because nobody wants to make the last out in a game like this. You saw how as good as this team was going up against the Cleveland A's, like, we felt like we were heavyweights in this one going into this, and you end up in a Game 7 in the end tied. I mean, holy cow. It tests you in so many different ways, Cappy. I know it tests you as a fan, it tests you as a ball player, and it tells you how resilient you can be and what you're made of. This team takes pride in picking each other up, and that's one thing I'm proud to be associated with. I watched this team all year long pick the players up, from Jason Hayward to Aroldis Chapman tonight to the ups and the downs of this season. They have gone out of their way to protect each other, to pick each other up, to hug each other, and to celebrate each other. It's like I said every day, you never know who the hero's going to be, and here we are. Honestly, who saw Dexter Fowler coming today, right? Could have been. Might have been Anthony. Could have been Ben.
Who thought Miggy Montero was going to get a hit in extra innings?
Hey, Miggy.
That
John
turns
Lester.
out to be the margin of victory.
But, I mean, and that's what you buy into, and that's what Joe Maddon created. Like I said, I know that there's going to be a lot of people tomorrow. They're going to be like them managing and this and that, and they're going to, you know, nitpick and tear this game apart. Bottom line is, he found a way to win. And sometimes the best managers, I've always believed, are the best motivators. And you know what? His team plays like he's the kind of guy that's got these guys motivated. So granted, if that's his greatest attribute as a manager, congratulations, Joe Maddon. You've won your first World Series with the Chicago Cubs. It took the Cubs 108 years. It took you 2.
Very well said. There are going to be people tomorrow, well, he shouldn't have done this. I don't give a flying rip. It took 108 years, and this guy found a way to get it done.
Bottom line, like I said, I mean, holy cow. There is a long list of former players that came to the Chicago Cubs with the hope and dream, myself included, of being out there with these guys with my uniform on. Didn't go my way, and it didn't go a lot of guys before me their way either. Joe Maddon came in, sold the product, sold, this is what I believe in, and I need for you to believe in it the same way. And from Chris Bryant playing multiple positions to where we stand today and everything else we've seen in between, this team backed each other, and that's why they're champions today.
Unbelievable. Just a wild scene down on the field, and people are just so excited. There's so many Cub fans that made their way to Cleveland today, and we saw them as we walked over to the ballpark today. I mean, just thousands of people in Cubs gear hoping this would be the night. And when they got a 6-3 lead in the 8th, you thought, okay, they got this.
Yeah, go ahead. Well, let me.
And the next thing you know, you're in extra innings, and they find a way to win a baseball.
Allow me to make another point in regards to the Cub fans tonight, which I thought was absolutely a tremendous job. There was that moment of desperation when Aroldis Chapman gave up the 2-run homer to Davis, right? 6-6 ball game, and the looks as you panned around the stadium, just lost. Like, oh my gosh, there's no way this is actually happening to us. But what ends up happening, Cappy, is they regroup, they rebound, and they supported their team, and they showed up for their team when they were having a dark moment in Game 7 of the World Series. They rallied around each other as soon as the next base runner got on base. Here come the Cub fans. They burst back onto the scene inside Progressive Field, showed back up again. They weren't feeling sorry for themselves. Yeah, for a little bit, for a little moment there, but they recovered. And that is a huge difference for a ball player when you feel that in that building tonight. They didn't quit. They didn't say, oh no, now we're done. They get to hit last and this game's over. They said, okay, we had a bad inning, and then they showed up again. That's a different Cubs fan base. That's a different one than I saw a few years ago in the playoffs, and a different one than, honestly, a few games ago, we were dealing with a lot of fans that wanted to just bail on this. Look where you are right now.
Do you believe that the rain delay, which wasn't long, we were out here and it's coming down pretty good for a little bit, and they roll out the tarp, They put the tarp back, and they said, let's restart now. Maybe, I don't know, I'm guessing, maybe it was 20 minutes, 25, 30 minutes, whatever it was. Do you believe that that was a help to the Cubs, that it allowed them to catch their breath, rally the troops, and then they came out and scored 2 runs?
You know, you could probably make that angle. They would answer that question a lot better. I could actually answer the question in regards to Shaw. I thought Shaw was throwing the ball better before. Obviously, the rain comes. He looks a little different out there. He's not as sharp falling behind hitters. But with that being said, this Cubs team all season long has pounded on bullpens. You see right there, Cappy, right? Key number 3 to tonight's ball game. Cubs bats versus Indians bullpen. That was a plus for us tonight. I absolutely believe that. I talked about 2 outs, 2-out RBIs all day long today. And in the end, our guys came through. They were big for the Indians, but you know what our guys did? When they walked Rizzo and things all of a sudden seemed like it was going in a different direction, boom, go down the other way. Stay up the middle. Absolutely beautiful.
All right. The scene on the field, it's just pure bedlam as they are carrying, who is that? Is that Chris?
Oh,
that
David Ross, Grandpa Ross.
David Ross being carried on the shoulders of his teammates, which is just a magnificent shot. Anthony Rizzo with just a ear-to-ear grin, and he's got the final out ball in his hand, and he gave it a kiss. It's just spectacular. Chris Bryant, as he made the final play, he fielded it and got this huge grin on his face. I mean, just amazing. Amazing. So, anyway, we're going to have a lot to take care of for you here on the show. Kelly Crow, Luke Stuckmeyer are down on the field, and as soon as they get through with their trophy presentation, man, fly the W, Chicago. Fly the W proudly on the front of your house, on your lapel, wherever you want, in your car. Your Chicago Cubs are World Series champions. You're not dreaming. It's the truth.
Cappy wouldn't put his W on till the last out.
I wouldn't. I had the W in my pocket.
I had it on the whole time. We had this one in the bag, man. What's wrong with you?
I have a necklace on my late father wore, so I have it. I literally was holding on to this gavel that was my mom gave it to my dad, and now that he's gone, I'm holding it. I got the W here, and I'm going, I can't put it on yet. I can't put it on yet. I mean, I was so tortured. And I'm always the most positive guy. But when it got tied, I thought, you've got to be kidding me. I can't have called this that wrong.
They had it the whole time, man. Baseball's not a perfect game, Cappy, and I think what you saw there is absolutely that. Well, here's the other thing. You know what? Joe Maddon's not perfect. None of us is perfect. And if you think there's a perfect script for a perfect ending, for a final victory in a Game 7 for the Cubs to end this 108-year drought, there isn't. You don't get to play a perfect game. There's never a perfect game of baseball. Even when there is a perfect game, very rarely is it perfect. I mean, the reality is that's what tonight was all about. To me, it was whose heart was bigger. What team was going to back each other up? What team was going to gut it out and find a way to get it done at the end? They had a push. The Indians did. I give them all the respect in the world. That is a resilient bunch over there.
Quit in the 10th.
Terry Francona has that group over there. There were so many moments in this game, as you and I were in that stadium all night long, where I said to you, I felt like this is good, man. We got great momentum. We got good vibes. Everything's going our way. They're making pitches. They're getting the leadoff guy out. I mean, everything was moving. And next thing you know, you blink, and this thing was tied. This Indians team, they're resilient, and I knew it would not be an easy path. But in the end, Cubs found a way. They got some guys on. Almora, I mean, are you kidding me? What a great read on the deep fly ball, tagging from first to get to second, put a little pressure on him right there.
That's a young player, dude.
That is a young player stepping out in front of millions. Kid he's not like he's been hitting or doing this all series long. He hasn't even played. He goes out to pinch run for Schwartz. It's not even supposed to be out there. I mean, you can't write this stuff, Cappy. You can't.
It is. They'll make a movie someday about the Chicago Cubs. They really will. They'll make a movie about a franchise that was poorly run for a long time, got some bad breaks, but most of it was poorly run, poor decision making, and they finally put a plan together, and they executed that plan to perfection, and in the end, they're on top of the baseball.
You believe me now when I said to you 2 years ago, if you're going to bring up the young kids, bring them up all together?
Yep.
Yeah, it worked, right, didn't it?
It did. It certainly did. And holy smokes. I mean, just magnificent I'm still,
How about David Rossi? I mean, are you kidding me in this game? I mean, gets thrust into the middle of the game. John Lester comes out of the bullpen, throws a ball down the right field line. Wild pitch gets away, completely just discombobulated out there. Honestly, looked like you'd seen a ghost. I don't know what happened in that moment right there, but they scored 2 runs on a Kipnis dribbler. Next thing you know, they're on their way back, and then Rossi steps right back up again and takes Andrew Miller deep to center field. Are you kidding me? Talk about just getting it done. I mean, take that with you, Rossi, to the retirement home.
It's incredible.
Wow.
What a way for a guy to go out.
Are you
David
for
Ross, I mean, a home run in Game 7 of the World Series, catching his buddy John Lester into whatever it was.
It was like, I felt so bad for Joe. It was like every move honestly felt like it was going to backfire, yet somehow this team was going to protect itself from whatever was going on. And like I said, some of it is the strategy of the game of baseball. Some of it is not. Some of it was just the Indians made plays. But all in all, I mean, this is a team that has had each other's back, Cappy, all season long. Why would we be any surprised? Has this team quit? Do you remember when Joe stepped up at about mid-August and said, you know what, we played really good baseball this year, but we really haven't been coming back late in ball games like, we used to back in the day. And it was almost like he said it and it started to happen. And here we are, down 3-1 in the World Series. This team resilient, battling back, holding leads, fighting back. Give back a lead here, make 3 errors, and find a way to win a baseball game in Game 7. Had it all the way, Cappy. Had it all the way.
Absolutely incredible. And what an epic party our city is going to see.
Oh.
What an epic party those guys are going to be a part of. How about a guy like Ben Zobrist? Huge hit in the 10th. Ben Zobrist has won back-to-back World Series.
Yeah, well, I know the feeling. I know the expectation, but he got it done. So good for Ben Zobrist.
Let's go to Kelly Crow on the field.
Well, 2 years in a row, you get to call yourself a champion, but this one has to stand out as pretty epic.
I don't even know what to say. Wow, what a game, what a series, what a team. I'm just blessed to be a part of it, to come up in that spot and be able to get a hit. You know what, God's too good to me. I don't deserve it any more than anybody else does. Everybody out here works their tail off, and I'm just blessed to be able to experience these moments.
Describe the emotions that this team went through just tonight.
You're a winner. You're a champion forever,
You guys did this one for Rossi, right?
You know it. You know it. That guy is the best clubhouse leader I've ever seen. The way that he handles the team, the way that he picks us up when we're down, his attitude constantly, the way he played the game. You know, the home run, I mean, what kind of a script can you write for your last game? I mean, that guy, he's a champion. He's a champion. The way that he goes about every day, nobody sees it, but he is the consummate professional and leader that anybody wants on any team. I don't care what you do. Rossi, he does so much for everyone around him.
How would you describe the motions of this entire night and to be hugging one another right now as world champions for the Chicago Cubs?
To be honest, I've been sick to my stomach all game long. You know, just hoping for that last out to be made and for us to be champs. And it finally happened, and the relief right now is just unbelievable. I think I could pass out right now.
Ben, you can see it here in the crowd, but can you imagine what it's like in Chicago right now and what it will be like in a couple days when you guys roll through and a parade that hasn't been, I don't know that they even did that 108 years ago.
I can't imagine what's going on right now at Wrigley. I'm sure those streets are all closed down and the people are going nuts. You know, there's so much emotion for so many people, so many generations and families, and you know, you can't put into words this moment for all of Chicago Cub fans. I can't believe I got to experience it the first year. I mean, I'm so spoiled.
Well, Ben, congratulations. Thank you so much for your time. It's been such a pleasure this season.
Thank you, Kelly. Thank you.
All right, there you go. So that we'll go back into the field and into the clubhouse in just a little bit. It's unbelievable to see the emotion that's pouring out of the ballpark. Fans now coming on the street. even some Tribe fans. It was an amazing World Series. It really was. I thought the World Series was exceptionally competitive, exceptionally well played, and fitting. Here, let's go back inside. Kelly with Javi Baez.
Javier, what are your thoughts on such an incredible game and now being a world champion for the Chicago Cubs?
What a game, man. What a game. We jumped early. They didn't quit. We didn't give up, but the game was open, so we kind of lay on that. And they were trying and trying. They came back, tied the game, and then we came back to play the game again. And, you know, our bench, Montero with a big hit, and Armora with the base running. It was awesome.
All along, I saw you give a really big hug tonight before the game to David Ross. You guys wanted to see him go out a champion. What does it mean to know that you've sent him out like that?
So proud. I'm so proud. I'm proud of you, dude. You fucking showed the fucking nuts in the fucking postseason, man. I'm proud of you. I'm proud of you. All right? All right? Fucking nice job. I love you too, bro. Where I was?
We were talking about David Ross, but that was a pretty special moment with John Lester.
So, yeah, you know, Rossi's been huge for the team, and even huge for me. I learned so much things about Rossi that is incredible, how smart and how big of a teammate he is.
Can you put into words what it means to know that you've brought Chicago its first championship in over a century as a Cub?
Ooh, I feel great about it, and we did it. We're the champion. We're the champion. This is for you, Chicago!
Thank you, Javi.
Stand by, guys. All right, there you go. So there's Javi. We'll be getting guests like crazy coming from the locker room or out on the field with Kelly and with Luke. But I was getting to, when we went to that interview, this was an exceptionally enjoyable World Series to watch before Game 7. Game 7, obviously, we're all thrilled because the Cubs won. But I thought the World Series itself was as entertaining, competitive, compelling with two teams with these long droughts. It was awesome to watch.
It was. And again, you know, we hope that, and I know a lot of Cubs fans and, you know, my friends and family and, you know, people in Chicago would hope that this would be a little easier on the heart, you know, so to speak.
It's not the way we do
It's just not the way that
not the break on it.
Well, and I just, you know, and the funny thing about it was everybody's like, you know, the season was what it was, 103 wins. It was easy. You know, everybody thought that this was going to
and I had Chuck at Harry Carey's, and I can imagine what Murphy's and Bernie's and Vines and Cubby Bear and all these places are like tonight. It's just, it's unbelievable.
Well, this is what this was all about. Theo came in with a vision. He understood from his Boston days what we were looking for here in Chicago and was the right man for the job. And he came in and said, I am not going to Band-Aid what you have. I am not going to repair it. I'm not looking to fix it. I'm going to take this car and we're going to take it to the junkyard and we're going to crush it. We're going to take it all the way down to the foundation. We're going to rip it up. Maybe there's a few spare parts in there that we might save, but we're going to build a whole new car with a whole new engine. And you know what? He did it all in one pace. Honestly, I knew it was going to take a little while to get it done. But he stayed with it, and he was resilient through it. And again, not everything was perfect. It wasn't always perfect all the way through. You catch a couple breaks. I thought Arrieta was a huge break. They traded for a guy that became a Cy Young winner. I think what they thought they were going to get was a guy who had a lot of upside but probably needed some work. Kyle Hendricks. I mean, you look at these trades that turned out incredible for this organization. These guys were major players in this series. Arrieta, major performance last night. Hendricks, phenomenal tonight. Fantastic. That was his first start on the road this postseason.
Correct.
And went into, Progressive Field.
Handpicked where he started. He always was starting the second game of a series behind Lester.
I mean, there's so many things that you can cling to and that you can point out that just really define them. We get a report just a few minutes ago that during the rain delay, the team was in the weight room, huddled up, just pumping each other up, kind of just, coming together, really just bringing it, hopefully throwing up a couple prayers is what I'm guessing they were doing, and just kind of refocusing to go back out there and win a baseball game, and they did. I mean, that's what this group is all about. They don't hope to win baseball games. They say, this is how we'll win. What do we need to do, and who's going to be responsible for it?
Yeah, and it's funny when the Cubs made the move to trade Starlin Castro and to sign Ben Zobrist, that all happened in one day. And there were some people that went, what do you mean you're getting rid of Castro? He was kind of a big name around here. And the Cubs just felt they were looking for a different type of fit, a different type of player. And how funny is that Ben Zobrist is the World Series MVP?
Well, it is amazing like that. Different players. I mean, and that's just it, Cappy. I've told you many times. Starlin Castro had a great year this year with the New York Yankees. He really did. He played well over there. But he didn't fit here. He didn't fit the Joe Maddon style. It just wasn't going to work. And I mean, I told you this for a few years, that I didn't see his game making sense for how this team was being put together. And he makes more sense in New York, and he's done very well in the pinstripes. I mean, that's the Yankees that we're talking about here. But all in all, Ben Zobrist was the right man for the job, and he wanted to be here. I remember the day I had the privilege of actually being one of the first people to shake his hand at the winter meetings right after he signed. And I said, hey, man, welcome to Chicago. You don't know me yet, but I'm going to get to talk about you on TV a little bit. And he said, hey, thanks very much. But you could see in his face, he knew what he wanted that day. And I thought, see, that's the look. I get it. I had it about a decade ago, and he's got it. He wants to come to Chicago and win a championship, and he knows a guy like Theo and his brain trust is going to put the right product together, and the right message is being passed around the organization, from their competitive nature to the support cast and how they win and how they're going to go about it, to what we see today. And then you bring in Joe Maddon. I mean, absolutely amazing. I honestly, you asked the poll question at the beginning, and I say that because I came here as a player wanting to win a World Series. But I separate myself from the question, and I still give you an affirmative answer of absolutely yes. Because what I watch is an incredible group of players who not only want to play this game the right way, but play it with passion and enthusiasm, and sometimes a little too much flair, Javi Baez. But they do love to play this game, and they love to play together. And what you saw tonight was just that will to win, that will to overcome against an incredibly resilient Cleveland Indians team.
Yeah, it was... you and I are watching the game tonight, and Cubs take a lead, the Indians tie it, Cubs take a lead, Indians get a couple back, Cubs add on, and we're thinking, okay, we're in pretty good shape. And it wasn't to be until you win it in extra innings. I guess looking back on it, knowing how hard it was for 108 years, that it's pretty apropos that it went this way.
I think the next few championships that this group will win together, and I will be surprised if they don't, and I boldly...
Will be easier?
It will be easier. It absolutely will be easier, because, again, it will be easier on everybody, because, again, what you'll trust is the game of baseball. You have to know that mistakes are made. It's like understanding hitting. When we say that you're going to fail 7 out of 10 times, yet you can still be labeled a great hitter, that's starting to understand the game of baseball. And I think what's happened to this Cubs fan base, because there's been so much failure and so much futility over the years, that they expect, well, we're going to have a team of all-stars to finally win. It's going to have to be, we've got the best third baseman, the best first baseman, shortstop, second baseman, center fielder, pitching staff, and bullpen. We'll finally win a World Series. But that's not baseball. It's never perfect. What you find is the team that typically wins is the team with the biggest heart. I mean, that's what it always ends up coming down to. You watch how these games play themselves out in front of our eyes. Sometimes it's guys you've never even heard of who become World Series heroes. All the time it's anonymous players who step into these moments. But one thing I know about this group is that they willingly accepted every challenge, and they always did it as a group. The look when Schwarber came off the field and into the dugout, when Almora went out to pinch right for, I mean, it was like, your turn, man up. Get something done.
I got on, now
First
you get
to third, move up on a long fly ball, whatever it is, you go find a way to score us that run. And again, 3 hits for Schwarber tonight. No surprise there. I mean, this group, I tell you, they play with fun. They're a fun team to watch. They're loose. They're exciting. And guess what? They are going to win for a while, Cappy. I'm going to go ahead and say it now. And the next ones will probably be this much easier.
It's unbelievable to see the number of text messages that are pouring in just from friends.
Phones lighting up all over the place.
Sox fans and Cardinal broadcasters and my family. And I met my wife at Wrigley. My son Brett, I know, is at home watching this going, oh my God, Dad.
Can I ask you a question? I mean, are you like, Do you feel like there's like a release? Have you let something go? Like there was like some element of bondage to, I don't mean in a bad way, but the losing, probably bondage to the losing. Do you feel free of that right now?
I do.
Yeah.
I absolutely do, because I would hear from,
you can hold your head up and say, you know what, we're winners.
Yeah, the Cubs, they'll find a way to screw it up. You can't say that anymore to us.
Right.
You can't talk about billy goats. You can't talk about fans. And can we please give a pardon now to Steve Bartman and leave the poor guy alone? Let him celebrate that the Cubs are the champions, because he wasn't the reason that they weren't the champions in 03. And now that it's over and that it's done, every single Cubs fan can put their jacket on. I'm not kidding you. I had a jacket that was given to me as a gift. You know what it said? 1908 World Champions. Throw that thing in the trash. I want a 2016 jacket. Yeah.
They gave you
Who still wears jackets that are 108 years old?
Well, somebody gave you that jacket when you were 12 years old.
Right. Who wants a jacket with a 108-year-ago championship on it? Really?
Well,
So, Cub fans, you can hold your head up high now. You can walk around and say to your friends who aren't Cub fans, guess what?
our time has come.
We're number one.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable. All right, here's Chuck Garfien over at Harry Carey's.
All right, Tom, just describe how you're feeling right now.
I'm exasperated for one, but I can't be happier. And my dad lived 89 years and didn't get to enjoy this moment. This one's for him.
Let's do it again. Start over.
That's fine.
All right, Tom, you went through quite the ringer to get to this point. What's going through your mind right now?
I'm totally exasperated. But my dad lived 89 years, and I told him that if the Cubs ever got to the World Series, I'd find a way to be in Chicago. So I flew here from California today just to be here.
And he was
89. He was 89, died a couple years ago, lifelong Cubs fan.
And he also, in 1945, he had a story about that as well.
In 1945, he was serving in World War II, so he didn't get to enjoy the World Series. So, I mean, that's great. I'm so happy I can't think.
Did you ever doubt that maybe you wouldn't be able to see this?
Well, I mean, I'm a Cubs fan, so yeah. Unfortunately, the answer is yes.
Do you feel like this curse, or whatever you want to call it, has been lifted and you can live a whole different kind of life because the Cubs won a World Series?
Yeah, I can own a goat now. No, I don't know. It just feels good to be a Cubs fan. Until about a couple weeks ago, there's no such thing as a fair weather Cubs fan. And yeah, we earned it. Everybody in this bar and every Cubs fan earned this. This is
when the final
living or past.
When the final out occurred, what was going through your mind?
More relief than anything. I mean, now it's a one-run game, and I mean, just with the history of this, I don't have to tell you.
Repeat after me.
Yeah, okay.
The Cubs won the World Series.
The Chicago Cubs won the World Series in my lifetime. Awesome. Absolutely awesome.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
All right, Ben Zobrist's car, Luke. All right, welcome back in on Cubs Postseason Live. This is our final show of the season, and it's fitting that our final show, finally, the Chicago Cubs are World Series champions. Take a look at Ben Zobrist. He was named World Series MVP. He gets a car, and he was magnificent. He really was. Tonight, came up with that big hit. Cubs get the runs they need in the 10th on hits by Zobrist and Montero. But Ben Zobrist was such a steadying influence on this team all season long. He signed here and said, I want one position. I want to play second. And then as the postseason rolled around, Joe Maddon, Theo, and Jed called him in and said, look, we need Javi's defense on the field. Are you okay going to play left? Because Schwarber's not available at that point. And he said, whatever the team needs me to do, I'm all about winning. And that tells you the type of character he has.
Yeah, well, I mean, again, you could look at what he did in this World Series and the steady at-bats that he threw out there. I mean, when everybody seemed to have a moment this postseason where they were a little out of it, then back into it, Anthony struggled in the NLCS up until a big game. Chris Bryant had his struggles this postseason. Everybody really did. Even Ben went through a little bit of it. But, again, his at-bats never got, as I like to say, disconnected. He always looks like he's going to give you a quality at-bat, and then eventually he'll start finding the barrel a little bit more. And who ends up coming up with the biggest hit in this ball game tonight? Ben Zobrist.
There you go. Then who got the hit to lead off the 10th? Kyle Schwarber. Another guy who, you talk about quality.
400 batting average in the World Series, by the way.
Unbelievable.
Had those 5 days off hurt him.
Yeah. Character guy. Been out all these months and said, hey, let me go to Arizona, get some swings. I can help you.
Stole a base tonight.
Yeah.
Standing up.
It's unbelievable. Let's see. We're going to Luke Stuckmeyer with Justin Grimm.
How does this feel? You like wearing goggles?
I could do this for the rest of my life. This is unbelievable. I feel sexy. That's all I got to say. I feel sexy. That's it.
When Chris Bryant scoops up that ground ball, how good are you feeling out there?
Oh, that was unbelievable. You know, I was in a bullpen warming up. You know, my heart was racing for Monty and myself at the same time. But, yeah, you know, that was awesome, man. You know, just glad to get it done. We pick each other up. It's what we've done all year. And it's just an unbelievable team win. And here to enjoy it.
Down 3-1, why did you guys still feel so confident?
We're the best team in baseball. We liked our starting pitching. We liked our bullpen matchups. We loved our hitting. We were due. And so that's how we felt.
How good do you feel for Kyle Schwarber, a guy that basically didn't play all season, and he comes up with a hit that ends up scoring and being the winning run in Game 7?
I watched that guy work hard all year long, sweat it out in the weight room, man, to get back and get ready. So I'm so proud of him. I'm so happy for him. And he showed up for us huge.
Is this going to be a 108-year party? Can be worthy of 108 years waiting?
No, absolutely not. Let's do it again next year.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
All right, we will have more for you in a minute. To look at this team and just look tonight, all the contributions you got. Carl Edwards came in, got 2 big outs in the 10th. Mike Montgomery's the guy on the hill that closes it out.
Threw my notes off the table, sorry.
You did. But I can do it off the top of my head, and I'll do it for the rest of my life.
Okay.
Montero gets a big hit. Zobrist gets a big hit. Dexter Fowler comes up with a 3-hit night. Well, at the start, if we go back, rewind to before Dexter signed at spring training, you didn't think you'd have Dexter. You did not have Mike Montgomery. I mean, it was just a different team. You didn't know what you were going to get out of Javi. You really didn't. You had a bunch of young kids. You didn't know how this group was going to come together. You knew you had a talented team.
Kyle Hendricks
from the 5th starter, where everyone goes, yeah, he's a good 5th starter, to the ERA leader in all of baseball. I mean, just so many different pieces came together. Let's go back. Here's Luke with Addison Russell.
It was a dogfight, you know. I said it since the first series, since the first game of this series. It's going to be a dogfight, and that's what it was. I'm glad that it came down to just 3 outs. I want to interview you, buddy. I mean, you can't draw this stuff up. It's absolutely amazing. It's what dreams are made of.
Having now fought back from down 3-1, doesn't that make the story even better?
Absolutely. And the fact that we haven't won in 108 years, 10 times better. You know, we've been rewriting history since the beginning of the season, and we just did it tonight as well.
When Dex hits that home run to lead off the game, what's that do for the team?
Spikes our confidence. It spikes our confidence for sure.
And Ben Zobrist, 10 hits in this series.
Holy crap.
Maddon said before the game that when he hits, that sets the tone for everybody else.
He's a true professional. I respect his work. I respect him as a man. Lights out the whole postseason. He was lights out.
But at the same time, it's been pretty much every guy in this clubhouse has done something in some game that made you guys win.
Absolutely. We pick each other up. That's the name of the game. That's how it's been since day 1 in spring training.
He said,
if we see a team member struggling, we pick them up.
Congratulations, Addison. World Series champs. 108 years, worth the wait.
All right, so we'll get you more reaction from the clubhouse. That flight back to Chicago is going to take about 8 seconds when they get on that plane, up, down, and in. And the partying is going to go on for quite a while, as it should, as the Cubs have won the World Series. You know, as I look through text, I've got 100 text messages. And I got a text message from one of our camera guys at CSN, Jeff Corbett, who is as diehard a White Sox fan as there is, our guy Corby. and he's not a Cub guy.
Right.
And he loves to tweak us, you and I, as he comes through. Oh, yeah, you guys are going to win this year. And we could never get over the hump. And I got a text. He said, what a game, what a series. Congrats to you and Cubs fans everywhere. I can't wait to beat the world champs in the crosstown. Enjoy it. It's fragile. Believe me, I know, your pal Corby. And I'm getting it from Sox fans who are my friends, all saying, really happy that you guys get to celebrate and enjoy this. I think that's really classy and really cool.
Well, and that's what our city really is all about, and that's what I was really hoping for, and what that would be the case. I remember 05, thinking I had buddies on that team, Paul Canerico, grew up with him, watched him grow and become a star in this game, and feeling for them in 05 and watching them win the World Series. And I'd like to believe that our great city can celebrate this together. It is a moment for the guys in blue. It's been a long history, a long drought, and they know the pain that we lived through, and that a lot of us came here for, and they get it. And it's great to see them reaching out. And I've had buddies texting me as well, reaching out saying, you know what, congratulations, you've lived a long time for this moment, and you know what, good to see you guys finally get over the top. What an incredible ball game tonight was, and they're in a lot of ways just proud of this group.
I think Sports Illustrated had an article this year that said the last great American sports story was trying to win a World Series with the Chicago Cubs, and it was in its 108th year, and here it is. That quest has finally been achieved.
It's weird because it just felt like tonight there was, when Davis hit that home run, it was just like I got it, but I didn't get it, and I saw it in you, what you had lived your life. I kind of got it. I came to Chicago about 15 years ago wanting to win as a Cub. Not from here. I didn't grow up here. I am raising my kids here. My kids were sobbing as I showed you.
We got a picture from his house. I'm not
Marcy,
exaggerating.
my wife, sent me this picture
after the two-run home run by Rajai Davis,
bawling their eyes
game.
out.
His kids are all hugging each other with tears flowing down their face.
Right.
So I picked up the phone and I called my son Brett. I go, what do you think, dude? He goes, we got this, Dad. Did he not?
Yeah, he did.
I put him on the speaker. He goes, oh, relax. We got this, Dad. Unbelievable. Luke's with Tom Ricketts. Take it away.
For all the Cubs fans out there, thank you.
Yeah, well,
They've been saying it all over the city tonight.
No, you got it backwards. It's actually thank them. Thank you to them. Like we told everyone it was going to take some time. We're going to have to make some decisions that won't be great in the short run. Might cost us a win or two in the short run. But we're making long-term decisions. Everybody hung in the boat. Everyone trusted us. And all I can say is we have the best fans in baseball. And I'm just really glad that we can pay them back.
I don't know if I've ever been a champagne guy, but this feels pretty good, doesn't it? You into champagne now?
I'm not really a champagne guy either, but in this circumstance, I'm very much a champagne guy.
How did you ride out the emotions of this game? This was like a whole season in one night.
Oh, dear God. You're telling me. Like, I had some ups and downs tonight like every other fan would. Normally, I don't have those during a game, but this was different, obviously. And being in the crowd for most of the night, it was so energetic. Thank God our fans were here. Cleveland fans were awesome, too. It was just such great energy. This is one of the greatest games in the history of baseball. And everyone who saw this and everyone who was here will never forget it.
Not just that, one of the biggest games in baseball. How do you feel for Kyle Schwarber? There's a guy that struggled to get back. We never thought he'd come back this season, and his hit ends up being the winning run.
Yeah, obviously that's a great storyline. A guy who, maybe could have taken a little softer, summer, but no, he worked hard. He tried to get back. When Theo first called me and told me that he had a chance to get back, we were all excited. But we didn't know. The guy hasn't played for 6 months or whatever, comes out and delivers. It's incredible. But it all goes back to the theme of, a great team that hangs together and plays for each other.
You really laid back, man, in the other celebrations, and now you can finally let it go.
Well, a lot of the celebrations, I'm like, guys, we're not done, right? We got to be cool. Like, this is only this or this or whatever. But this is the last celebration you get. You might as well enjoy it. For this year.
You said you're not a champagne guy, but you know what you've done for Joe and Barry Beer Can around the world and throughout Chicago?
Yeah, I think it's great. I just hope everyone in Chicago is having a great time. Because ultimately, for me, it's all about the fans. Everyone hung in the boat for some lean years recently. Everyone's followed this team for some lean years, over a century of lean years. And we've been through thick and thin, then a hell of a lot of thin. And everyone hung together, and now we got a championship.
The man at the top, how do you look out and see everything clicking all the way down? What kind of feeling is that?
Well, you know, obviously hiring good people, letting them do their job, helping out where I can, supporting them where I can. You know, I don't take any credit for it. Let all those guys have it, you know.
You threw all the employees in, you put everybody up. How long is this party going to go?
I don't know, you know, 5 or 10 more minutes. And then I got to get back to work. I don't know what's going to happen now. You know, and in fact, I'm not superstitious, but I did not plan to do anything. I'm like, all right, man, until we win, I'm doing nothing. I'm making no plans.
Is this so Cubs that this was so much drama, a roller coaster ride of emotion, a marathon, rain delay, everything else?
Oh, my God, this game had everything. It had everything. And you know what? I think I mean, obviously it worked out well for us. Indians played so well all season long and all series long. Oh, my God. And we beat two great teams. The Dodgers were great. Giants were hot. It was tough. So I think that it's so fitting to have a 107-year drought and in a game that no one will ever forget.
Absolutely. Tom Ricketts, Cubs owner. This almost ended at 1:08 Eastern. 108. That sounds like a point. Let's listen in to Jed Hoyer.
That's what I'm doing. I'm just sending emojis back.
All right, David Ross is joining us right now. David, I don't really know what to tell you. Congratulations, the moment to see you carried off. Tell us what happened, though, during the rain delay when Jason Hayward got all you guys together.
He was just talking about what a special group we have and you know, that the 103 win is no fluke. We didn't come here. We are the best team in baseball. Let's go out and prove it. Support your teammates for one another. Let's do it for each and every guy in there. Don't worry about what's happened. Let's just move forward. It's 0-0.
Rossi, you guys had each other's back all season long. You proved it once again tonight that you will back each other up. I think all the way up to the manager tonight. What was it like in that dugout, living through those last few innings?
Guys are just grinding. Guys continue to fight. This is a resilient group. They've never given up all year. They're absolutely having a blast being a part of this. I'm so fortunate to be on this team, and these guys never quit. This is the toughest group I've ever been a part of. They've been through so much, and they continue to answer the bell.
David, you took Andrew Miller deep tonight. The Cubs really roughed up the Cleveland bullpen. Take us through that at bat and your emotions as you went around the bases, knowing you took one of the premier guys in the game and took him out of the park.
I just was trying to have a good at bat. You know, I just got in the game and gave up 2 runs, so I was trying to have a good at bat. Cap, Holly, I love you guys. I love Chicago. Thank you so much. It's pouring out here. I got to get inside and celebrate some more. Love you guys.
Thanks, Rossi. We appreciate you.
You're the man.
Love you, man. Congratulations.
It is pouring. It is absolutely a monsoon now coming down, and they told us the rain was going to hit. What time did they say? About 1:40.
It's 1:45.
And it's 1:40 here, and it is absolutely coming down in buckets. But fortunately, we're undercover and we're A-OK.
As long as it doesn't blow away.
Great to talk to Rossi, even just briefly. He took Andrew Miller deep, and it was a he made a poor throw, and he stepped up. Javi made 2 errors, home run. Rossi made an error, home run.
Those are the moments, Cappy. That's why this team is special. You look at how this game broke itself down. David Ross stepped onto the field when John Lester came into the ball game. Pivotal moment in the game. We were all curious, what's John Lester going to do? You get a bunt, swinging bunt, comes out, throws the ball down the line, has a wild pitch that gets away, ends up homering. How about Javi Baez? 2 errors, home run as well. They didn't quit on themselves. You got to give these guys credit for that as well. This is a great group, a great atmosphere, but they didn't quit on themselves. A lot of guys sulk and hang their head when things don't go their way, but not this group tonight.
All right, here's Luke Stuckmeyer with Cubs General Manager, VP, Jed Hoyer.
General Manager of the Cubs.
It felt like it was going to be a close game. It felt like it would go to the end. And, you know, to win a game in extra innings on the road, you know, Theo and I were actually talking the other day about how extra innings on the road in the playoffs, you don't usually win. You know, give our guys credit. They had the rain delay. Theo and I walked to the weather room. We saw those guys huddled in the weight room, you know, pumping themselves up, talking about their at-bats. Schwarber goes out, leads off with a single. Albert, unbelievable base run to get into second right there.
And then, obviously Zoe and Mickey was really great at bat. So, I mean, it's hard to win a game on the road in the playoffs in extra innings. These guys did it. It feels like that was the way this thing was supposed to end, right? This 808 years was supposed to end hard. And it took a lot. I mean, hey, they battled in the bottom of the inning. So.
It looked like both teams by the seventh inning were completely gassed. You guys have been using like shorter benches, shorter staffs, and everybody was just.
Yeah, I think it happens. I've seen it in other playoff series too. I think Chappie. Give Chappie credit. I mean, he was exhausted, as he should be. Miller was tired. He's got some runs off Miller. Even Allen, I thought, showed some wear. Showed some wear. It's hard. I mean, you're playing the most intense pitches every game, for the whole playoffs. And what was that, our 17th game, right, in the postseason? It takes a toll on these guys, and I think that you saw that tonight. Chappie, we're not here tonight without Chappie, but I think he did get a little bit tired tonight, and it showed. And give our other guys credit for picking him up.
I got to ask you about Zobrist. I mean, you knew him, but I've heard teammates say they didn't really know how professional he was until he got here.
What a professional at bat! 2 strikes, and he fought a ball off against the screen, the dugout, and then just did an unbelievable job putting that ball in play. He's clutch, I think that he's got a slow heartbeat. He's got a simple contact approach, and the reason we brought him in here was because we needed more contact. And I don't know how many times we struck out tonight. I haven't looked at the box score, but I know it wasn't many. I know against Kluber, I don't think we struck out against Kluber. A year ago in the playoffs, we struck out way too much. Tonight, we put the ball in play, and good things happen. I think that says a lot about the maturity of our team from 15 to 16.
Joe had said he kind of sets the tone for every at-bat for every guy on the team, Zobrist. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, it's a professional approach, and I really do think having Schwarber in our lineup made a huge difference. I'll be honest, I came out after that rain delay, and I felt great. We had those guys coming up. You felt like, hey, these guys are going to get something going, and I mean, I feel like there's a lot of heroes. What Kyle Schwarber did is something people should talk about for a long time. This guy didn't play all year. And for him to go out there against Brian Shaw and hit a single in that spot is pretty amazing.
Can you describe your emotions in this game and the plan? It worked.
If I really described them, I think it would be off air, I felt really good. We played a great game. We did a great job against Kluber. We did a great job against Miller. You never relax, but I felt like with 2 outs in the 8th inning and Lester pitching well, you felt like, hey, we're going to go to the 9th with a 3-run lead, and we'll see what happens. And I mean, it was a massive swing of emotions. And I've said a couple of times, I really think that rain delay was sort of divine intervention. It allowed guys to regroup, take a deep breath, and kind of game plan for the 10th, and it really worked.
Were you aware that they held the team meeting and all that, and they talked about it, Hayward did, at that time?
I did, yeah. I walked by. Theo and I went to the rain room. We came back through, and I didn't sit in on it, but I could hear those guys and what they were saying in the weight room, and I felt great. I walked back out to the seats, and I felt really good because I felt like these are the guys you want to have up in this spot. And all we had to do is win one inning, right? Win the inning, and we were world champions, and we did.
Take us back. I've never heard the words Cubs world champions alive. Most people haven't. What do you say to everybody back in Chicago that have stuck by you guys?
Well, first of all, we can't wait to get back. It's going to be an amazing scene. Can't wait for the parade. I just can't wait for the people to be able to go, visit their parents and grandparents and talk about what happened, because it's a loyal fan base. For years and years, they never won. It was never about curses, and I think these guys really showed that. It's about having the best team and the most resilient team, and it's not only about talent. We had the most talent, but we also had the most resilient team, and we needed it tonight.
Go back all the way to spring training and think of all the little things that happened. Dexter Fowler, kind of like a dream signing, and he leads off Game 7 with a home run.
You know what? That was a huge moment in the game, and I thought he was like the most emotional guy on the field after the game. He was just kind of tears in his eyes and just kind of walking around like he couldn't believe what happened. And I feel like of all the people in this room, he came back to us. He wanted to be here. He wanted to be part of this. He deserves it so much. I mean, he took a one-year deal to come back here and be part of this, and he was a huge part of what happened.
Don't you feel like almost every move, though, at some point helped you out? You look at Jason Hayward, the catch last night in Game 6.
The throw from the corner.
People didn't talk about it, but that saved the game at some point.
No, I mean, I think that's the beauty of this team, right? Like Ben Zobrist is the MVP. He had the big hit tonight. But you can go around the diamond and point to something that every guy did in this series. Everyone, Javi had the homer against Kluber today, to knock him out. Addy had the big grand slam yesterday. You can go right around the diamond. Everyone did something to help us win. That's a beautiful thing. I love the fact that we didn't win a world championship because one guy got hot or two guys got hot. We won a world championship because we had a deep roster and every guy contributed, and I think that's a great thing.
But down 3-1, you won it on the road. It hasn't happened since Dave Parker, Willie Stargell, and We Are Family. What made you think this team could do that, 3-1, and then win the last 2 on the road?
Well, we came back from 3-0 in 2004. Maybe that's what it takes, to win a title. Listen, we've had a lot of 3-game winning streaks, and I do think that when a team is up 3-1, they need to finish the job right away. I've seen that many times. In Boston, we were able to come back in a lot of series. I think the momentum shifts quickly, and I think the team that's winning those games starts to believe in themselves. And that game we played on Sunday night was incredible. There's so many chances they had to score. We held on for that win, and it felt like there was a giant sigh of relief getting on the plane on Halloween and heading back here. In some ways, that was the key game of the series, is to get that done here and get back here and have a chance. And we obviously did a great job offensively last night.
You, Theo, and Jason all left really good jobs to come here and try and do this. Is this what you imagined?
Yeah, it's incredible. I'm so happy that we did this. After Boston, there's only one more chance in baseball to break a curse like that, and I think it'll take me, the better part of my adult life to put it all in context. That we had a plan. Obviously, it worked. But the part that we could never imagine is just how resilient this group is. You go out and sign players, you draft players, but the idea that these guys would be able to keep on fighting back over and over, it's an amazing thing. And give Joe and the coaching staff and all the scouts and everyone, this is an organizational championship, and I'm just happy to be able to hug our guys and spray champagne and know that we accomplished something that hasn't been done in a long time.
Congratulations, you're part of history again.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Jed Hoyer did it with Boston. Now he's done it with the Cubs, 108 years.
All right, had to hang up the phone. I had to tell my wife, hey, baby, we won the World Series. She was watching the game.
We'll be home in a few hours.
Downtown at Lou Malnati's with some of the kids. And I have one son that was here yesterday. He is boarding actually just boarded a plane back home to Vietnam where he lives. So he saw Sunday, he saw Game 6, and he saw the game end and got on a plane and flew back to Ho Chi Minh City. I got Brett at home, Garrett and Alex, my wife. My mom is staying up this late to watch the show, and I look up and I go, hey, Dad, I miss you, man. We won the World Series.
Skies opened up. It brought us a little bit of rain right here. It's a different day now. Yeah, it's early in the morning. Everybody back home in Barrington. I know Marcy and the kids, what a night, what an emotional roller coaster ride. Father Bernie, right. They got it done, buddy.
Here we go. Joe Maddon finally getting to talk to the media, brought to you by Xfinity.
Looking at it from my perspective, really evenly matched teams that play the game the same way. A lot of passion about it, a lot of respect for the game itself. And I know Tito, and I know he's always been that guy. So the entire organization, not just him, but obviously the ownership and front office, the players. I know some of the players on that team. It could not have been a more entertaining, difficult series to win. And I think beyond all that, I want to believe, and I do believe this is good for our game moving forward, that if we're attempting to seize young fans and not just to play the game but to be fans of the game, you cannot be more entertained than you were over these last 7 games. It's incredible. Of course, I would say that because we won, or I'm not saying that just because we won, because it's just true. Next point I'll move on is just I want to congratulate the people of Chicago, our fans, our ownership, Theo and Jed, the team, the players. I mean, listen, I am late to the party. I came here while all the heavy lifting had been done. I feel very fortunate to be given this assignment. It's the best. It absolutely is the best. The combination of everybody I just mentioned, plus the ballpark itself, Wrigley Field, is without question the best venue in all of sports. So that's it. And of course, my beautiful wife Jay sitting right here. Like I'm not talking to coming on the stage, and you guys are missing out.
All right, and we have a question right here along the center aisle.
Joe, why was Ben the right choice for MVP?
I mean, who sets a better example of how to work in at bat, and who sets a better example of just being a professional than he does? I mean, I've been around him for a long period of time with the Rays, Devil Rays, the Rays, and then eventually here. Here's a guy that he's in his mid-30s, and his work ethic is incredible to watch. What he does after games, not before games, after games, to be ready for the next day, and his dedication. He's a different cat. I mean, everybody would like to have one of those on their team. We're just very fortunate to have him, but he just probably exemplifies exactly how we want to play the game.
And in the back, center left.
Brown.
Joe, I got a feeling, in fact, I know that people tried to make this season about the 107 previous teams that came along. I got a sense over the last few weeks that this was about this team, these 25. I wonder if you could sort of explain to me how you sort of narrow that focus to you 25 guys, not 107 years worth of teams.
Well, I think a lot of the burden I haven't been here. Again, I've been an American leaguer. I never was in Chicago, Wrigley, until a couple years ago. But there's been a lot of burden placed, and I think, quite frankly, it's misplaced. The fact that it's today, it's now, it's present tense. And I totally respect what's happened in the past, and I totally respect our fan base. But if you just want to carry the burden with you all the time, tonight would never happen. So for me, it was about, in spring training, trying to define this whole thing. And that's where the really running towards expectations and running towards pressure was really important, I thought, as opposed to running away from it. I think, my perception, and again, I might be wrong, that's what I think I've seen or heard about in the past, that everybody's waiting for the other shoe to drop. And you got to expect something good to happen as opposed to that. And I know, even tonight, I'm certain, people would be doubtful the way it all played out. But that's the game of baseball. There's professionals on both sides. Both teams are good. And there's going to be an ebb and flow to the game. There's nothing to do with curses. Superstition has nothing to do with what's happening today. Nothing. And if you want to believe in that kind of stuff, it's going to hold you back for a long time. I love tradition. I think tradition is worth time mentally, and tradition is worth being upheld. But curses and superstitions are not. So it's really great for our entire Cubdom to get beyond that moment and continue to move forward, because now, based on the young players we have in this organization, we have an opportunity to be good for a long time, and without any constraints, without any of the negative dialogue. And you know me. I mean, we've known each other for a while. So that's the best way. The burden's been lifted. It should have never been there in the first place, I don't think. But now we can move forward.
And in the back right?
Yeah, Joe, I wonder, obviously by the seventh game, everybody's pitchers are kind of running on fumes.
Yeah.
I wonder if you had any, as you watched, obviously the problems that Chapman had, if you had any, occasions to sort of second guess yourself, as to game 6 and.
Well, here's how it goes. I mean, Chappie, he's our guy in that moment. We've narrowed it down to 4 outs. If you want to really complete the thought process, their guys were really rested and we hit them. Whereas Chappie had just pitched yesterday, and I felt really confident because he felt great going into tonight. So the Cubs beat up on Miller tonight and got to their other guys because the Cubs are good. The Indians beat up on Chapman tonight because the Indians are good. So that's the part of this game, and I love it. I mean, I love it. I think barroom conversations are great. I used to hang out at Bellhop's back in Hazleton, and we used to talk about stuff all night long. I think it's wonderful. But sometimes people forget that both sides are good. And we demonstrated that tonight versus them. They demonstrated that versus us. We ended up with an 8-7 win. But quite frankly, everything was going according to plan. The way it all worked out, they scored runs on a dribbler in front of the plate and a wild pitch scored 2 runs, which is really unlikely. And I thought Johnny Lester was fantastic. And then Chappie, he felt really good about that. He felt good about going in. He was very distraught after we took him out, but I give him credit for hanging that next inning and doing what he did, and that permitted us to win. Don't overlook that.
And again over in the right, the back.
Yes, sir.
Your thoughts on another good offensive performance, big hits all over the lineup, and all 3 catches, I think, drove in a run tonight.
Yeah, our catches were fantastic. The three-headed monster was talking about the trilogy in their bullpen. We have the trilogy behind the plate. They all contributed wonderfully, and they're all ready to play. Give Miggy a ton of credit, though. Miggy plays so infrequently, and he's had so many. He had the big hit against Blanton, against the Dodgers. He came up big again tonight. Always ready to perform. He deserves so much credit for what he did and how he handled the pitching staff through that final moment. So we're very fortunate to be able to choose among the three. They all have their strong points. They all done really well with different pitchers, but you got to give Miggy a ton of credit tonight.
And we'll take one last one in the back, Tim.
Joe,
Brownie.
Two subjects here. One, there's a bit of a buzz about Jason Hayward speech in a weight room during the rain delay. What you know about that, what you heard, what it was all about. Two, you're at the end of this crazy game.
Right.
And by then, your closers are going to be a guy with 2 career saves and 0 career saves. How you felt standing on the top step watching 10th inning play out?
Well, I felt confident because they've both done a really good job. My only concern is that you saw CJ get the 2 quick outs, and then all of a sudden it got away a little bit. So you have to have somebody prepared in that moment. But I do know one thing, CJ is going to be better for that next year. I do know that. And I love Montgomery's curveball in that moment against a good right-handed hitter. So I loved all that. I felt good, but we had other alternative plans working through that. We had Stropey ready. Eventually, it was going to be Woody, then Stropey. Stropey after that, and then we're going to get back to the top of the order was going to be Grimm. So they're all laid out. We had everything laid out going into that last inning. The meeting, I walked off the field, the rain delay. It's crazy how, I don't know, things happen for a reason. I don't know. But I walk off, and I see them all gathering in that little room down below there. And they had a meeting. And I'm upstairs just checking out the weather map, and the boys, like I've told you, I hate meetings. I'm not a meetings guy. I love when players have meetings. I hate when I do. So they had their meeting, and a big part of it was we don't quit. We don't quit. But it also, and I want to bring this up because you might have seen me after the game. He gave me time to grab my dad's hat. My dad's been there for the 2002 win in Anaheim, and he was here tonight. He was I had him stuffed down the back of my pants and underneath my hoodie, the hat. Yeah, the hat. No, the night after the rain delay. I didn't want to put too much pressure on him. So it's incredible how this all plays out sometimes. You have to believe in order to see things, and I do believe. But it was great to have my dad there for 2 World Series victories.
Okay, thank you, Joe. Thank you for everything.
All right, there you go, Joe Maddon. Now we're going to go back inside in a moment. Kelly Kroll is able to corner. There's so many celebs and people that have been around this team that are hanging out in the clubhouse. We're out here outside the ballpark. The Progressive is right behind us, but Kelly Kroll is with Bill Murray.
It was what I expected. It was going to get hard, and then it was going to get difficult, and then we're going to start, and then we got the rain, got to start all over again. It was great. It was fun. It was perfect.
When they caught up twice, what was going through your mind? When they caught up twice, they tied the game.
Oh, I don't know. It's just like we get to start all over again. That's all. We get to start again.
Never
Did you ever think you
No,
would
I was
ever
not panicked.
see this day?
I never panicked. Of course I thought this was going to happen. Hey, you, come here. You're the girl on TV. I see you all the time, and you're always all dressed up. I'm sorry. You look great, but...
I'll tip my cap to you, man.
No, it's all right. You look great. You look great, too. You are looking better. It's,
After some champagne.
Let's move on.
Bill, what's the best?
Better now that
You're
they won? Dry, though, aren't you?
Well, I don't think so. I think
You don't think you're that dry?
Do you not think?
Because everybody likes the thing on the eyes. It's just,
Oh, no.
It really
Can
is
you
very
imagine what's
refreshing.
happening in Chicago right now?
I can imagine. Yeah, I can certainly see it. I can see it in my mind's eye. There's no violence. Everyone's pretty calm. There are probably some falls. People actually tripping, and at a time like this, it gets very emotional, and you forget that there are curbs, and so you trip and you slip and you fall, and you maybe hurt a knee or something like that. But it's all It's all for the best intentions.
Bill, could you believe how many Cub fans were here tonight?
Well, yeah. I mean, go right now. We should probably go out there now.
What have you thought about this group here that you've gotten to know?
Well,
What's made them so
I
special?
only see you on TV, so this is a first. And you guys realize, actually, I don't really know anyone here. But what do I think about this group here? I think you should probably just all relax a little bit. There's this champagne right here. I don't know if any of you have got it. I don't know if any, no, come on. Come on, big sport.
We're pacing ourselves.
Here, what's it?
I probably shouldn't do that on television. You think I should?
Drinking on the job again.
It's all right. Turn the cameras off. Let me have a second. How are you?
Guys, I don't know how I ended up with this.
Hey, Bill Murray, everybody. Not bad.
Took a big gulp.
It's Mums.
It's okay.
Mums from Napa. It's
Yeah,
okay.
it's all right.
I'm so glad it's not
You've
the
had
cheap
better
stuff.
though, right?
Yeah, I know, but when you're going to spray it, you don't want to wait. You don't want to put people out of work. And this is good American champagne.
Bill, you're going to go back to Chicago to participate in the celebration.
Yeah, it really depends on what kind of. I've got to ice my elbows and knees because I've been
working hard.
Looks like you're doing the 12-ounce curls right now.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. I think we got a day off. It's not tomorrow, is it? It won't be tomorrow. We'll pace ourselves. Monday?
We're hearing possibly
Monday. Oh, Monday. Well, I might go now. I'm going to start walking.
On the road till 4.
All right, there you go. So Bill Murray having a good old time yucking it up in the clubhouse. I mean, so many people have been Cub fans since they were little kids. And look, I'm 55 years old, almost 56. And I remember saying to Theo, hey, man, how about trying to take care of this before I'm gone? And he's like, well, just stay healthy, eat right. We'll see what we can do for you.
You know how I learned? I learned about, when I was a kid, growing up, how I learned about the Cubs, trials and tribulations.
Harry Carey?
No, was Bill Murray in Pebble Beach. Because when he played, he was an amateur. He would play with the amateur. He'd play the pro-am. And he always wore the Cubs, and they would always tell the story. And, I didn't live here. I wasn't from here, but I would watch, and I got it. And I got the fandom. I mean, I understood it. He was this incredible fan. He would always wear something Cub-driven. And there was always the theme behind it. And, I started to understand. And then I got the lovable loser, and I, started watching and paying attention. And obviously the Superstation WGN.
You played against him.
Yeah, you started to learn all about it.
All right, let's go back to the clubhouse. Here's Dexter Fowler.
I wouldn't be here if I didn't come back. I believe it's things happen for a reason. Somebody asked me, they said, where are you going? I said, I got to go to spring training. I said, where are you going? I said, Citywide.
Dex, can you walk us through the first at bat?
I had to go in and take a deep breath. To be honest with you, emotions were running high. My heart was beating a little hard, and I knew I was facing one of the best pitchers in the game. And at the end of the day, looking for a good pitch to hit, and got one that 2-1 and did something with it.
How tough was it the first 2 times, and was it any different the third time around? Did you learn something the first couple times you faced it?
I think you learn things each at bat. Fortunately, we got a little bit more ABs, so that definitely helped. But the boys were ready. We were ready from the jump, and we knew it was a do or die, and we came out on top of it. So.
You guys are always. Davis hits the ball out to tie it. You're in center field. What's going through your mind?
You know what? We still got work to do. We got work to do until the game's over. Doesn't matter if it's if they're on top. We still got to battle back, and hats off to them. They played well. And they didn't quit either. They were taking quality ABs, and they did all they could.
Can you summarize?
You guys are always so even keel and so unflappable, it seems. When Davis hits that home run, though, does that change at all?
I would be lying if I didn't say that we kind of took a deep breath after that, but we realized the game's not over. There's some work to do, and obviously the rain came, and we took a deep breath and took a step back and realized that it's a 0-0 game.
You talked about your finished business and why you come back to spring training. How do you feel now that business is finished?
You know what? It's a blessing. It's a blessing, to say the least. We're world champions. It hadn't been done since 1908. And we're excited to make history.
What's it feel like to keep saying world champion? Dexter Fowler, leadoff home run and World Series.
Getting tweets and texts and pictures. We saw the Empire State Building, blue and red for the Cubs, and the Emus Citywide building outside Wrigley.
Right,
has all changed all the numbers. So
wow,
it's
finally.
People will go, what do those numbers mean? Well, now all the zeros mean the last time we won. That's how many years it's been. Zippo. Pretty insane. Draymond Green of Golden State, after, of course, Golden State blew a 3-1 lead to the Cavs. He had to live with that all summer, and now that this game's over, he writes, man, 3-1 sucks. And then another person tweeted, good, keep loving those 3-1 jokes. I guess Cleveland still is Cleveland. So
yeah, we saw some classy Cleveland fans here at the start of the pregame or the postgame show here tonight.
Yeah, there were some great people that we met while we were out here, and there were a few that were a little offsides. There were. Anyway, John Lester is now meeting the media in the clubhouse.
He's going to be a deciding factor for us when we go to, if and when we go to Chicago, and it was true. So. Like I said, he was the first domino to fall in the grand scheme of Theo's wicked, twisted mind that he has, and I'm glad we made the right decision.
Yeah, the same thing with Zobrist too, choosing to come here last night and said, "I hope nothing weird happens. I hope it's null and void." Right? What was going through your mind tonight? And again, epitome of a team. I mean, anybody handles any role given, right?
I mean, I think everybody knew it wasn't going to be easy. I think it's just kind of like Riz and this whole Rocky thing that he's been doing. I mean, it really is. I mean, it's Rocky kind of all over. I mean, we go out there and you think, hey, 6-3 and 2 outs in the 8th, we got this, and all of a sudden, boom, 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 they're tie ball game. So I don't think anybody in that dugout was like, we're not going to win this game. I think everybody in that dugout was like, okay, that's just another 10-second count that we got to get up from, and we did it. We continually did it all year.
108 years. Can you imagine this parade? What's going to happen in Chicago?
I cannot wait. I mean, I really can't. I can't come soon enough. I want to go. I want to go hug my family and celebrate with them for a minute and get that picture that I was talking about. So, on that note, guys, thank you very much. It's been an unbelievable season. You guys have been unreal, listening to us and believing in what we have to say every night. That's a hard thing. I know it's a hard thing for you guys' job is to decipher through our BS. But thank you guys for supporting us. But like I said, I'm out. I'm gonna drink some champagne and go hold that trophy.
All right, there you go. So let's talk about Jon Lester. He went to Joe and said, hey, man, I'm there for whatever you need. And he gave him some really, really big outs tonight.
Absolutely. No, most definitely. And I think once he got settled in and, used to, being back out there, didn't really have his breaking ball at first, and then kind of found it, settled in and gave him just absolutely great production. That was a huge bridge to the end of the game. I know things changed after that, but again, there were a lot of questions about how they were going to be able to get there, knowing that Kyle had gone a little bit shorter and then Aroldis Chapman was at the end. But Jon was the guy that once again stepped into the I'm your man role, got it done, and made big pitches and kept things where they needed to be kept.
Yeah, he came in, gave him big outs, and then, of course, you had the Aroldis Chapman meltdown, and you rally the troops and find a way to win. That is the most resilient team we've seen in a long, long time.
Well, and my other point really, I mean, yeah, we talk about, I love, talking about how resilient they are, but how much they pick each other up. I mean, think about this again tonight. A lot of issues down there in the bullpen coming into this Game 7. A lot of major question marks going on as far as how that bullpen was going to be used, who was going to be used, when they would be used, who wasn't going to dare pitch tonight. We heard reports of that right before the game. Certain guys that were going to probably be avoided remain nameless, no need to go there. But the point is that Jon Lester walks down, puts his spikes on, and goes out and makes pitches.
All right, let's welcome in a guy who's been great to deal with since he arrived. He comes on the show all the time. Jed Hoyer, VP and General Manager. Jed, take us through your range of emotions tonight. You know what's at stake. It looks like you got it put away, but more than any team in sports, there are no done deals with the Chicago Cubs, and you guys found a way to win a baseball game.
Yeah, no, it was crazy. I think I'll watch that game and at some point in January, and I'll enjoy it because I won't have the emotional swings. We had the early lead, and then the wild pitch, cost us 2 runs, and then, Geyer and Davis had the big hits, and when that ball went out of the ballpark, my immediate thought, honestly, was, okay, we're tied. We got to figure out a way to score a run, and I thought Dexter's ball was going to go up the middle in the 9th, and Lindor made a great play. Our guys, they used the rain delay well. They kind of game planned, and we had the right part of the lineup up at the plate. And give Chapman credit. He threw a scoreless 9th. He went back out there, held him there. We don't get Schwarber and Bryant and Rizzo and Zobrist up to the plate. That doesn't happen if Chapman doesn't throw a scoreless 9th.
Yeah, Jed, you use phrases like holding the deficit right there, and great to see Chapman able to accomplish that. We've been talking an awful lot about how resilient this group is. One thing that I've been watching all season, Jed, and I think you're going to agree with me on this team has each other's back like no other group I've ever seen. bullpen issues there. Late in the middle innings, John Lester goes down and helps the guys out, picks them up. But time and time again this season, all the time, we continue to watch guys pick each other up.
Oh, no doubt. And when I heard that meeting was going on in the weight room, Theo and I went to the rain room and walked back through there. And once I heard that, I was really confident. I felt like all we had to do was win one inning and be world champions, and those guys did that. And give the Indians a ton of credit. That's a resilient group over there. They had 2 outs, no one on in the bottom of the 10th. They get a walk and a single, and all of a sudden, it's 8-7 and they're in business again. So, they never quit either, and they were a great team to have won a title against because it was really hard. They won 3 of the first 4 games. We had to really fight back, and one of the best baseball games that's ever played. And I love the fact that we won a title on something that's going to be talked about for generations as one of the greatest games ever.
Jed, appreciate your knowledge. We'll see you back in Chicago. Enjoy the rest of the night, my man. Thanks again.
Congratulations, Jed. Thank you.
I can't wait, fellas. Take care.
Thank you. There you go. There's Cubs GM and VP Jed Hoyer, one of the architects with Theo of putting this whole thing together. Kelly Krall has cornered Wilson Contreras. Kel?
What are the emotions right now as you look around this room and you know that you're world champions?
Another dream coming through. This is unbelievable. This is way better than I thought, especially when you're around with these guys. And I'm just thankful with God, thankful with the organization of the Chicago Cubs for giving me the opportunity to start playing the big leagues. And I'm just proud of everyone.
You're very emotional. How much do you feel like you've grown this year with this team, but knowing where you've come from with your family and just getting over here and all that this week has meant to you?
Oh my gosh! I mean, I've been learning a lot from this guy, from each one. And I'm just being here for like 5 months in the big leagues, and I feel like they make me feel like I'm being here for like 10 years. And I'm thankful with those guys for giving me that freedom to be myself, to play like I play. And I mean, there's a lot of emotions together. I start crying like when Sabri hit a double, hit the base hit. And I was facing down because I didn't want the cameras to look at me. Then Miggy came in and hit a base hit. There were a lot of emotions together.
Why, when Zobrist got that hit, why was that the moment that tipped you over the edge?
Because I wanted to win so bad, this team. I mean.
Sorry.
Since I got signed with the Cubs, it was everything that I dreamed, to be a world champion with the Cubs. My career has been tough a little bit, but I mean, thanks God for all the sacrifice that I made. Thanks my mom and dad, my brothers for all the support. Who I am right now is because of them. Them being like everything for me, and I just wanted to know how much I love them and how much I love the Chicago City.
What do you think that Chicago City's like right now?
All right. I believe we've got Theo Epstein. Theo Epstein joins us now. Theo, we were just talking with Jed. Take us through your range of emotions tonight. We saw you with your son, and here it looks like it's going to get put away. It's a 6-3 lead. The next thing you know, you're by the rain room, and your guys are having a meeting when it's 6-6. Could you just take us through your range of emotions?
Yeah, that's baseball. I mean, I've been through it before with 03 ALCS, and Pedro stayed in. We gave it up, and Aaron Boone walked us off. It's never over until you get that 27th out. In this case, 30. But I was worried. I'll be honest. I was really worried when we gave up the lead, but I had to run down to the clubhouse to deal with Major League Baseball and talk about the weather. And I saw our whole team meeting in the weight room, and I kind of pushed the door open so I could listen in what was going on, just to make sure it was nothing I needed to know about. And they were just encouraging each other, saying, this is only going to make it sweeter. Here we go, boys. Let's grind. It's our time. This is going to make it mean even more. And then I just felt like we were going to win at that point. And then we went out, base hit by Schwartz, and we're off and running. Scored 2 runs. And then C.J. Edwards and Mike Montgomery sealed it. It's just incredible, man. It's hard to process all these. It's been an emotional month. It's been an emotional 5 years, but really an emotional month. Seeing our fans so invested, so supportive, seeing our players want it so bad, all the connectedness with generations, with our players, the fans, and the team is just really emotional. And to see it come together like it did with the championship, there's nothing better.
Theo, and from Cap and I here, congratulations. You're the architect behind this product and this team that you were able to put together. Incredible run. I know expectations are high. Certainly we're high with this group, are high next year. But when you watch this group and you watch this collection of young talent come together the way that it did, to step into a Game 7 and come up with as many big moments, your young players, I've got to imagine that you've got to be beaming on the inside just watching your players, the guys that you drafted, come through in such big moments.
First of all, I cannot believe you asked a 2017 and beyond question. Shame on you. Live in the moment, man. That's what we do. Live in the moment. This isn't good enough, bro. Live in the moment, Cap. But setting that aside, yes, I could not be prouder. I mean, of the players, the whole organization. What makes a great organization is not a 5-year plan or one person. What makes a great organization is 1,000 small sacrifices when no one's looking, from your players working on their weaknesses to your coaching staff crushing the video, to your area scouts driving the extra mile to get a last look at a kid, to the front office pulling all-nighters to work through an idea with the R&D department, manager, coaching staff, ownership, everybody. And I'm lucky because I get to see it all happen, and we're all united behind a common vision to win the Cubs a World Series. And now it's happened, and it's because everyone made those little sacrifices, prioritized the team and the organization above self. And that makes it so special. I'm so happy for our fans and for everyone who made those small sacrifices along the way.
Theo, just so you know, that was not Cap who said 2017. All I want to say to you is thank you. As a Cubs fan, Holly's the same way. I just want to say thank you for what you did for our city.
Well, thank you guys for all the support and bringing what this team's all about to the fans, because this wouldn't happen without 108 years of patience and support from the fans, and I'm personally grateful for that, and especially the last 5 years. We know we put you guys through a lot. We had a vision in our head of how this thing could come together with young players and then veterans, and incredible support from everyone involved. And the fans just believed. And Cap, I know you're a fan. You fake like you're a media guy, but I know you're a fan deep down. So congratulations to you too.
Thank you very much. Thanks again
Theo.
for bringing
We appreciate
this to us,
you.
Theo.
All right, guys.
Enjoy your party. We'll see you soon.
We're coming home to Chicago, baby. Jed's in charge. I'm going on a bender.
You're the best. Thanks, Theo. Jed's in charge. I'm going on a bender. Might be the best quote of the night.
Yeah,
How about him scolding me because you mentioned 2017?
Well, because that's something you would do. I just happen to beat you to it.
I live in the moment.
No, you don't.
Let's go
Put
back,
your W flag
back
on.
to the locker room. Here's Jake Arrieta.
We won 1 of 3 at home, and coming here with the deficit we had, we knew it was going to be tough. To win 2 games in this park, I was able to throw the ball pretty well. We scored several runs early, made my job a little easier. And then tonight, Kyle pitched really, really well. Lester came in, did the job for what, 3 1/3, something like, I don't even know. The emotions were just so intense throughout the whole game, and then the rain delay.
Was it everything you thought you would be? Winning a World Series, we talk about it so much.
It was harder than I expected, and not that we underestimated the other side. It just seemed like when we felt like we had the game won, they came back. They battled back and tied the game on a big home run against one of the hardest guys to hit in baseball. But then after the delay in the 10th, we were able to scratch for a couple runs. Zobe winning MVP and Miguel with a big hit. It's just everybody contributed. It's amazing.
Hitting is a personal win for so many Cub fans. Generations of Cub fans. Do you feel that how personal it is now? You've integrated yourself into it.
Absolutely. I feel like I'm a part of, Chicago. who wants to play anywhere else? You know, it's an amazing city, a great organization with some amazing people. They're my closest friends, you know, we're family. And, you know, having a guy like Schwarber come back and do what he did in the postseason, nothing like has ever been done like that before, and it just shows that we're all pulling for each other, you know, and we're all, you know, ultimately trying to attain the same thing, and, you know, it showed tonight.
This could be the greatest, I mean, people say it's the greatest moment in Chicago sports history, maybe the best Game 7 in World Series history.
Well, I mean, just getting to the seventh game, it's do or die. You know, at that point, you know, somebody's going to go home upset, somebody's going to go home, you know, champions. We're able to make one more play than they were tonight, but it was back and forth, man. That's about as tough a series as you're going to play against any opponent. You know, and we're just grateful that we came out on top.
When do you think it'll set in that you're actually a world champion?
Probably not for a little while. I mean, we're gonna enjoy this. I asked Henske, I'm like, so are we done playing games? We don't have to play anymore? It's just we're gonna have a great plane ride. We're gonna continue to celebrate here and enjoy this for a long time.
What was the most difficult part about the emotional roller coaster that was tonight?
Being in the bullpen, not being able to sit still, pacing around continuously, having a different vantage point, not being you know, used to seeing a game from that perspective, and just, you know, basically on pins and needles with everybody else in the stadium, watching and hoping that you know, we made enough plays to win the game.
Was something said in that rain delay? Wilson kind of alluded to just guys coming together, positive messages, and saying, let's get this done.
Well, we did. You know, we wanted to rally the guys and not allow the rain delay to take any of our aggressiveness away, and stay sharp, stay ready. Thankfully, it was only a 15-minute delay or so, so guys were still hot and still prepared and in a good mindset, and it showed when we came out for the 10th.
For all the fans that have been waiting over 100 years, what do you have to say to them?
108 years doesn't mean shit anymore. This is it's a start of something new, something really special.
Jake, after 108 years, though, how?
You heard it from Jake there first, guys. 108 years doesn't mean much anymore.
All right, just tremendous stuff out of the clubhouse tonight. But the line of the night, Theo Epstein. Jed's in charge. I'm going on a bender. That was pretty awesome.
Oh, yeah, it's been an incredible night. I mean, you think about what, you know, your season and your dream, you know, getting to talk to Jed and Theo right there. When they came over to this organization, when this season started, you know, you have all these checkpoints along the way. And I think last year was an incredible learning moment for them, a year in which they won 97 ball games. And I think we were all devastated when they got to the Mets and things didn't go better. And then you have this season of high expectations and 103 wins, never really getting tested other than creating a little issue for yourself there at the end of the first half. Watching this incredible run, making the right acquisitions, going for it with Chapman, bringing in a Montgomery, watching this team come together. Just absolutely amazing. Calling up Wilson Contreras and sticking with him, even when he didn't fit, Cappy. He didn't fit. We carried 3 catchers in the second half. Who carries 3 catchers?
And they all had RBIs tonight.
Well, who carries 3 catchers? I mean,
right.
You just don't do it.
By the way,
at the big league level.
All right, we got to take a timeout. We're going to sneak a break in.
Fine, I guess we'll take a timeout then.
We'll take a timeout.
Let's do it.
We do have to say, Kevin Cross, our boss, thank you for the setup out here, my man. You were
only
rock
works
star
one way,
tonight.
man.
A rock star, so thank you. And our great crew here and back in Chicago. Quick timeout. Be right back.
Oh, this is over! The Cubs win! Congratulations! Way to go, fellas! Way to go, man. Way to make history. Oh, this is...
Cubs Postgame Live is presented by Blue Cross Blue Shield of Illinois. Through it all.
Make sure he's in bed by 8.
Sometimes I get scared.
Scared of what, Danny?
The things I can't see.
Got a weird feeling.
Almost forgot. In case anything happens.
Dad, I got this.
The Chicago Cubs are in the World Series, and Wrigleyville Sports is the place for all your official gear. World Series t-shirts, sweatshirts, and the official locker room cap worn by the team, champagne not included. Pins, flags, collectibles, and toys for Cubs fans of any age. Everything you need to celebrate the Cubs' first pennant since 1945. Visit our store across from Wrigley Field or WrigleyvilleSports.com now.
When my hair gets too long, I lose my edge. But when my cut's right, I'm right. I'm back to being me. My dimples activate. My cleft chin becomes cleftier. I get a twinkle on my tooth, and I speak fluent French. Garbage, chaise lounge, mayonnaise. Au revoir.
Get in, get out, back to greatness. Download the online check-in app. Great clips. It's gonna be great.
With a curved ultra-high-definition screen, Samsung's SUHD TVs give you a brighter picture and the most brilliant colors for the best viewing experience. It's Samsung's best TV, and it's here at Apt Electronics. Available in screen sizes from 48 to 88 inches. Come see it today. Guaranteed low prices, unbeatable selection, and free local delivery. Apt. Pleasing people since 1936.
Hey, we've waited 108 years for this. BigTimeBats.com as the Cubs World Series champions bats sold as sets or individually. Call 866-280-BATS or go to BigTimeBats.com. Time for our Clear Choice Dental Implant Center's play of the game, and we have decided to give it to Ben Zobrist with that big hit in the 10th inning, Hollytown.
Yeah, it was pretty funny. You know, you think right up to that moment, he slashed one foul just before that, and I just had this feeling that if Shaw goes back out there one more time, BZ, Ben Zobrist, is going to come through with the biggest hit of the ball game, and he absolutely did. Third baseman playing off the line. Great swing of the bat right there. Lines that double down the line, as he has so many times this year, using the entire field. Cappy, how many? 3 home runs to center field, and tons of base hits the other way. It was as if all of a sudden they said, you know what? We're going to listen. We're going to go up the middle. We're going to go the other way, and we're going to come through tonight. Great to see. They really turned it up.
It was almost like they were listening to you.
Well, me and Rhino, we were talking about that just an awful lot. There's still a lot of different ways of doing it, but it's a lot easier on yourself when you stay inside the baseball and you hit against the defense. That third baseman, Ramirez, was stunned that Ben Zobrist slashed one down the line and the willingness to even do it. So great moment right there for Ben Zobrist and certainly the Cubs as they put together great at-bats.
Here's Ben Zobrist a little earlier at the podium. He's World Series MVP.
Ben, what's the difference between the first championship and this one? I know the first one is always the memorable one, but how would you compare this one?
Man, this one about made me pass out. I felt like the way that the series has been up and down, and then Game 7 here, the elation of getting up early in the game and feeling like we have the game in our grasp, and then it getting away in the bottom of the 8th, and then having a little rain delay and coming back and scoring those 2 in the 10th. Man, it was just an epic battle. You know, we've been listening to Rocky soundtrack the last 3 games before we've got our own Italian stallion, Anthony Rizzo, that's been putting that on, and is like a heavyweight fight, man. Just blow for blow, everybody playing their heart out, and the Indians never gave up either, and I can't believe we're finally standing after 108 years, finally able to hoist the trophy.
Okay, another question for Ben, all the way in the back on the right. Where's our microphone on the other side? Oops, I guess we don't have one on the other side.
Yeah, hi, Ben. I was wondering 2 things. One is, how important was that rain delay for you guys and sort of getting yourselves together? And then secondly, what were you looking at in that last at bat? I mean, did you have an approach, or were you just trying to hit it where it was?
Well, the rain delay, I think, was really important for our team because, we got everybody, all the players, down into the weight room. Jay Hay called the meeting. He said, hey, let's come in here. I got something to say. And he said, you know what, whatever's happened up to this point in the game, we got to forget about it. It's over. we're still the best team. We're going to pull this thing out. We need to pull together and chip away. We're going to win this game. And everybody just kind of rallied together like we've always done all year long. And, that would have been tough. Most teams would have folded in that moment where, we lost that lead. And hats off to Jay and Rossi and our other leaders for just making that moment happen and kind of turning the page for us. And then you get Schwarber coming up, after the break and gets a big hit right away, and then you feel like it's on. We're going to do this.
Okay,
as far as the at bat goes, I was looking for, a cutter out over the plate. He throws a really tough pitch to hit, and I was trying to stay inside of it, and wasn't able to do it early in the at bat. It was tough at bat, and I was just battling, grinding up there, and fortunately that last one he left over the plate and up to where I could just slap it down the line, and that's all I was trying to do, and just out of the reach of the third baseman.
We have another question for Ben. He's got a couple of additions up there with him now.
Oh.
Any last one for Ben? Oh, over here on the left, far left.
Yeah. Hey, Ben. Miller and Kluber had been so good in this series up until this game. What was different tonight that allowed you guys to have more success against those two guys?
Well, obviously we've seen them a lot, and I think our team all year long has made adjustments. Even though we got a lot of young players offensively, guys have done a great job of making adjustments the second, third time you see a guy, and I think our ERA against pitchers the third time we see him in the season was pretty high. So we knew that we would have a shot to do what we were able to do to Kluber early in the game, and we were just hoping he wasn't quite as sharp. And after hats off to him for being such a stud for their team and coming back after short rest, both the second, his second and third starts in the series. I just feel like we were able to make the adjustment because we saw them more.
All right, time for our Wrigleyville Sports winning box score. And for the last time this season, I get to say this to my man Holly. This one belongs to the Cubs.
Well done. I'll tell you, it's a collective effort tonight, man. I just think back to all the big moments from so many different guys. Didn't matter whether they were 0 for 3, 0 for 4. They did a fantastic job tonight, Cappy, containing those moments and just kind of putting themselves in position to come through. Think about this. Ben Zobrist was 0 for 4 before the game-winning hit in the ball game. He's had big hits in this series, and Anthony Rizzo did a huge double down the right field. I mean, so many guys stepped up tonight. Even guys who had been struggling. Javi Baez goes right center field, big home run after making 2 errors. We were about ready to pull. Well, I pulled all your hair out. You wanted to pull mine out after those 2 errors, but you know what I'm talking about. I mean, just huge, huge moments tonight for so many individuals. Contreras off the right center field wall with a big double right there. Again, I'm so proud of this group. I'll tell you what, Cappy, it's been such a joy to be a part of it.
Let's go back inside. Luke Stuckmeyer with Kerry Wood.
I asked Ryan Dempster the same thing. I said, I can tell you guys are enjoying it. Imagine Santo, Banks, and some of the guys that are looking down watching that.
Yeah, I mean, that's just kind of what it's all about for us. Obviously, it's a special team, and we see how these guys play together. But now that it's done and these guys pulled it off, you look back at the guys that played before them and the guys that tried to get it done and couldn't get it done, and then you look at the guys that tried to get it done and couldn't get it done and that aren't with us anymore. So obviously, Ronnie and Ernie and Milt and these guys, we've been thinking about them this week.
People were an emotional wreck at the end of that game. Was it harder to watch that than it was to be a part of a game like that?
10 times harder to watch it out in the stands, yeah. I actually had to come down at the end. I couldn't take it anymore. But no, I think obviously, what a great series for both fan bases. I mean, you couldn't ask for a better game. We had extra innings in Game 7, a little rain delay, and it just what an exciting game.
I'm sure you can appreciate the type of pressure these guys run, or do you think being a young group might have helped them, being so young, some of these guys?
Yeah, I think that, and obviously the mix of veteran guys. Obviously, John Lester and his experience in the postseason, the World Series, obviously played a role, but the right amount of veteran guys, and obviously these guys being young enough and hungry and not focusing too much on the history of it and just going out and doing what they did. It was fun to watch. They're going to do it for a long time.
Did you see this coming once the Ricketts kind of took over and then it kind of fell in line? All of a sudden Theo's in town and then all of a sudden Maddon's in town?
Yeah, I mean, I think we see it as they were building it and putting it together. Obviously, we're all hungry and we wanted that team to get here sooner than later. And obviously last year's team surprised a lot of people, but I don't think it surprised the people involved. But this year, I think these guys came out and handled the business and stepped up and, showed us that last year wasn't a mistake. So it's several years to come, I think.
Think we'll see the Wood family at the parade?
I hope so, yeah. Got to get the kids out of school, though.
You guys up for that?
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought so. The Wood boys are up for getting out of school.
All right, just so much going on. Let's take a look at, what do we have, Nelly? The headline? I think we've got from the Tribune. I think we got the Tribune headline that the Cubs are the world champions. I mean, the newspapers are going to be collectibles. I know, but I know people don't read newspapers as much as they used to. You got to buy the newspapers tomorrow. The Times, the Trib, the Herald. You got to buy them and put them away.
Well,
this is historic.
I mean, I'm looking at your phone right now. I mean, the crowd outside Wrigley Field. I mean, this is going to go on for a while. There's no doubt about it, at least through the rest of the week and probably the weekend. I anticipate just an incredible celebration. I think there's just so much to be, not only celebrate this team, but I think back to all the people that we've talked about, the lost relatives that wanted to see this team, this organization win, to finally, be a part of this and to be here, you and I even here in Cleveland in this way, to take it back to there. We're talking about racing out of here. Can't wait to get home. I know that it's going to be an awful lot of fun back in Chicago, and I know the next handful of days is going to be a lot of fun to celebrate with everybody, this incredible championship.
It is, absolutely. It's been a long and amazing run to be a part of, you and I, and a lot of years we've done, and we got a lot more together.
Right.
We've got to take a timeout. We'll come back. A lot more to do yet on our post-game show. Be right back.
Hi, everybody. This is Pat Hughes. The Chicago Cubs are in the World Series for the first time in 71 years. To commemorate this, BigTimeBats.com is releasing the 2016 World Series Team Signature Bat. The full-size bat will have the facsimile signatures of the Cubs team and the World Series logo. The bat is limited to 5,000 individually numbered bats and sells for $129.95. Call BigTimeBats.com now at 1-866-280-BATS.
This rusty mess isn't going anywhere. Don't trust it to just any cleaner. Trust CLR. CLR makes quick work of the toughest jobs, dissolving crusty white buildup so your shower runs like new. CLR cuts through hard water buildup and helps keep your washer running clean. CLR also earned the EPA's Safer Choice seal, so it's safer for your family. Trust the power of the CLR family and trust your clean to CLR. CLR is available at these fine retailers.
You know the feeling. The rush of every roll, every flip, sip, bite, note, and night. You know the feeling. Get it at Ameristar.
My cardiologist said, I don't want you to come back until you get something done about those teeth. That is the foundation of good heart health.
We're doing amazing transformations, and it's not just a smile. It changes the person's total outlook.
At Clear Choice, we understand that your dental health impacts your total health.
Doing the best for your own personal health is what's important.
Schedule your free consultation today. We'll even talk about financing options. Call Clear Choice today.
We're coming home to Chicago, baby. Jed's in charge. I'm going on a bender.
Jed's in charge. I'm going on a bender. I'd like to be on that bender. Everyone else is drinking in there, and you and I are stuck out here
in the rain. He gave himself a goal. He came here with a purpose, and he met the goal. I mean, head on. I mean, think about that. I mean, when Jed, Theo, Jason, when they all came on board and came over here, went out there and made it happen.
Our taking care of business player of the game tonight, we got to go this way. Dexter Fowler. He had a leadoff home run to start the game. He had a 3-hit night, almost a 4-hit night, and he was just magnificent.
Well, I think you can sum up Dexter Fowler by me, if Cubs fans, I know you all already know this, you realize that Andrew Miller had a historical run during this postseason. One of the big reasons the Cleveland Indians were even, all the way in this Game 7 of the World Series. Dexter Fowler flat out owned him when it was all said and done. last 3 at-bats against Andrew Miller, 3 for 3, 2 hits, a home run. You go back, what was it, Game 5? He had the homer against him, a little bit of a meaningless one.
Correct.
But it didn't matter. Still took him deep, which led to the 2 moments tonight. Had a big hit against...
was it Game 5 or Game 4 that he hit?
Yeah, I don't know. It's late. It's early. I don't know. Whatever. Point is he owned him. And he's put together great at-bats. Started this game off with a home run, and then you kind of just add it all up. I know that these moments kind of get here. I just go back to spring training when he burst onto the scene and he walked out onto the field. He said, guys, I'm back. You know, everybody thought he was supposed to be a Baltimore Oriole. That, you know, the deal was done. He's on his way to Baltimore. And I even remember reaching out to you going, man, what in the world? This doesn't feel right. And all of a sudden he's back with the Cubbies.
All right, our third member of our crew, Ryan Sandberg, is in the locker room. Take a listen.
How about this? What can you say about this team right now?
Oh, it's unbelievable. I loved them all year, loved them through the playoffs. Fitting ending to go extra innings, a little rain delay in there, heroics at the end. I mean, it was hard work by these guys, and no doubt it was going to go 7 games to go right down to the end.
What are your interactions like with these guys right now? Just the emotion you're seeing and feeling in this room.
They're just so respectful of the game and all the players that came before them. It's very gratifying, but they've made it for me be able to live in the moment, not think about the past. So I'm celebrating right with them.
How would you describe the emotional roller coaster that was the entire game?
I couldn't stand it. Could not stand it, and everybody, all the thousands of Cub fans around me couldn't stand it either. What a game. I mean, this was one of the best World Series. I mean, everyone's glued to their seat, home and at the stadium for the whole series.
What do you think Chicago's like right now in this moment?
Pandemonium. Something like we're looking at here, which is unbelievable.
Right, thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right, take a look at the Sun-Times headline now. The Chicago Sun-Times with their headline. And again, I know you may not all be newspaper people. I am, but you need to buy the papers tomorrow. Those are relics you got to hang on to.
They're keepers, no doubt about it.
Those are keepers. What a wonderful world. The Chicago Cubs have won the World Series. It's still, you know, we've been on the air for a couple hours already. We haven't had a chance to process, we've been in work mode, to just look back. And then while we were playing the Ryan Sandberg stuff, the W flag is now flying right behind us. I don't know if we can get a shot of that. The W flag is flying on that truck right
outside Progressive
Field.
Yeah, pretty cool.
Pretty cool, man, to see it. And the Indians have been great hosts and put a congratulatory message up to the Cubs. And I believe the White Sox did the same thing. And there's thousands and thousands of fans outside Wrigley. So people are having a good time tonight. Just please celebrate responsibly, please.
Yeah, you don't need any more of that. We've run across some Cleveland fans that were celebrating a little bit too much tonight. Yeah. But, yeah, certainly wish that for everybody back home. I know that we've seen that here. And incredible. So many people, Cappy, drove here for the game tonight. Didn't have tickets to the game. Just wanted to be in Cleveland. Wanted to be outside. Came by, stopped by here, said hi to us. We're outside the stadium in the pouring down rain just to be part of this incredible, historical Game 7. Just great to see. And I tell you how many times I take back to my first Cub moment way back in Atlanta.
When you
way
took
back
John Smoltz
right,
deep.
04. And you know, as I was running around the bases, you know, there had to be 10,000 Cubs fans in the building, and I just didn't get it until that moment when they were standing up when I tied the game with the homer, feeling what Cub Nation feels and understanding it and being a part of it, and still getting to be a part of it now with you. I think it's so special, and seeing all the fans all day today, you and I walking over from our hotel, walking down through the streets. I mean, Cubs fans everywhere, just out supporting the team, supporting each other, just kind of representing. And I thought they did a fantastic job here in Cleveland of showing up and making Chicago felt here in Cleveland.
All right, we got to take a timeout. We'll come back, got a little bit more to do, and then we'll let you celebrate and get some sleep, because there's going to be a parade coming up on Friday, so we'll all be busy again. We'll be right back on CSN.
Mr. Submarine is open late every night, so no matter when the urge strikes for a tasty sandwich with delicious ingredients on bakery fresh Toronto bread, dive into deliciousness with Mr. Submarine.
We're going to set our mark high, absolutely. And I'm going to talk playoffs, I'm going to talk World Series. this year, I promise you. And I'm going to believe it. And I'm going to see how this is all going to play out.
Going in with the intention of winning, and that means the division, that means the World Series, that means everything. You can call it arrogant, you can call it cocky, whatever you want, but I like to win.
Anytime you have enough talent to compete, you want to set your sights high.
We're trying to win a World Series. I didn't come here for a haircut. I came here for jewelry. The Chicago Cubs, 2016 World Champions.
The Anthony Rizzo Family Foundation and the Bono family have teamed up to knock cancer out of the park. Order your Italian beef the Rizzo way, and Bono will donate to my charity. I'm proud to be working with the Cubs and the Bono family, two Chicago originals.
Order it the Rizzo way at your local Bono restaurant.
For the most Cubs coverage, go to csnchicago.com. Brought to you by Wintrust.
The Boombox Reimagined. The Monster Blaster. The Boombox ruled the streets, allowing you to bring the party with you. Monster has reimagined the classic boombox with a modern design. Wireless connectivity, deep V bass, indoor and outdoor modes, 8 hours of power.
Fans, stay close to your boys in blue right here at csnchicago.com. We're bringing you the top stories, team news, and video that you crave all in one place. Phenomenal coverage. And you can trust insider Patrick Mooney to bring you the very latest from the clubhouse. Then head over to the Pulse page and get your social on. Check out the standings, the schedule, stats, and gear up at the shop. It's all one click away. It's that easy.